Hey, what's up, horror fans? What's going on? It's your host, Josh James. Welcome to the show. How you doing? What's going on? It's summertime. It's freaking July already. I can't believe it. July 2018. And 4th of July is just around the corner. And yeah, I just had my 4th of July barbecue a couple nights ago where we get some good friends together, some beers, some party favors, and I get my big inflatable movie screen out and watch a movie. We ended up watching Piranha. It was just a really good time, and I just, was thinking to myself, hey, I have an opportunity to knock out, I guess, you know what it was, to be honest with you? I just kind of felt like rambling and doing a podcast kind of on the fly. And I was sitting here looking at my collection of movies, and I even cruised through Netflix real quick. And I just I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do a movie that's noteworthy or something that I would actually want to spend the time to get to know and learn about because that's what I usually do before I do a fan commentary for a movie that I don't know, respect in some way, that has some dignity to it. Even some of the really cheesy B- ones, I still like to learn about those and be knowledgeable about. And since I kind of just felt like talking into the microphone, but wanted to have a movie to follow along with me, I just picked one of these old black and white junk movies from the 50s, creature feature. And I have a couple of those compilation DVDs that has 6 or 7 or 6 to 8 movies on it. And I just remember watching this one once. And it's, it is what it is. It's a drive-in movie from the 50s. I think this is 1959. And, I like these old movies. They remind me of sitting up late at night and just, we'll just rerun these movies on TNT or something, and you just kick back and you just watch it and then fall asleep or something with a piece of pizza in your hand. But I went ahead and picked the Giant Gila Monster from 1959. Not great, It's about giant lizards, and like I said, it's a junk movie, creature feature from the 50s, and they're kind of a dime a dozen, but it'll give us something to watch while I ramble on about this and that and the other thing, and I'll include the video with the commentary because I don't think anybody really gives a shit about this movie, so I'm pretty sure I can upload it on YouTube that way, so... the summary here says a giant lizard terrorizes a rural Texas community, and a heroic teenager attempts to destroy the creature. It was directed by Ray Kellogg. There aren't any names attached to this movie that I would actually, I think, know. I don't recognize any of them. Didn't do any research on this. This is literally just something I'm pulling out of my ass for the fun of it. But I'll give you a synopsis of the storyline so that you have some idea what's going on while I ramble through the movie. A couple of teenagers are reported missing in a small Texas town, and it is thought that they eloped. Sheriff Jeff turns to his friend Clarence Winstead, a garage mechanic and leader of a hot rod gang, for help. After a series of tragic motor accidents, it becomes apparent that a giant Gila monster is roaming the area, depleting the town of its citizens and visitors, including 2 hot-rodding teens, and planning to attend the big record hop party. Alright, so there you go. This is a U.S. movie from 59, and I think it was filmed down in Texas somewhere, and I'm seeing a budget of about $140,000. Which seems like a lot. I mean, I don't know where all that money went. That was a lot for 59. But, yeah. So I just got it queued up right where it says Hollywood Pictures Corporation presents. And let's just jump into it, shall we? All right.
unexplored regions, bleak, desolate, where no human can ever go.
I've been wanting to do some of these old black and white movies for a while, you know, like, I don't know, I enjoy them even though they're so disposable. You know, I think a lot of people just see a black and white movie and they automatically channel surf away from it or don't want to watch it. And you know, back in these days, I think they used to like shoot these movies in a really different sort of way, in terms of their cinematography. And you know, I mean, you can appreciate these if you just kind of let your mind get into that world, you know, go back in time a little bit. And you know, I've always had an affinity for like the 50s and stuff. I've always been a huge like James Bond fan. And James Bond, I didn't mean James Bond, I meant James Dean. Huge James Dean fan, huge fan of Rebel Without a Cause, which I'd actually like to do like a real fan commentary for sometime. But yeah, I was kind of obsessed with James Dean for a while and stuff. But so I love old 50s movies, and you know, I'm not really any kind of aficionado. I guess I'm just kind of a casual fan. I can definitely appreciate them, although you know, some of them can get kind of boring. But it just all depends on how you look at it, you know. But, you know, it's just, there's definitely just sort of like a feel to these movies that just doesn't exist anymore, you know. The early days of cheap cinema. How's your guys' summer going? Are you guys having a good time? Taking your vacations and whatnot? I'm pretty much stuck here most of the summer. Got to go back to my day job, unfortunately, and I'm probably going to be working nights too, so going to get real busy, so I'm just trying to, like, you know, get some content together and, you know, get some fresh, just to have some stuff, you know, fresh to upload to the channel and to Horrorphilia. And there's going to be some really great stuff coming to Horrorphilia. We know we got some really great stuff for the channel in the works. And, I mean, we've just uploaded some really great content. If you haven't listened to it yet, check out my interview with Jim Wynorski, the kind of sort of famous B-minus movie schlock director, responsible for Chopping Mall and The Return of the Swamp Thing and, gosh, all kinds of great stuff. Then we did a fan commentary for Return of the Swamp Thing right after that, and that's up there. Did that with Nick Utam from the World Class Bullshitters. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we're just always putting up new stuff, and you should definitely check it out. You know, I've had my ongoing solo commentaries for the Scream Queens. You know, the classic Scream Queens. The real Scream Queens are Linnea Quigley, Brink Stevens, and Michelle Bauer. And so I've been kind of hunting down old movies of theirs from the 80s and you know, doing commentaries for them. And we've got 2 done so far. We've got Nightmare Sisters, and also we have Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama, filmed back to back in the mid 80s there, and those are both really fun. Actually, late 80s, but yeah, you know, we got some good content up there. Go check it out, and if you like it, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications. And we're also on Twitter, you know, at Rratedhorror. So, you know, always kind of tease when we're going to drop a new movie, and it's probably the best place to go to get, you know, updates, you know, and notifications of when new content drops. But it's interesting. I don't like. I'm drinking these like leftover Coronas from my barbecue on Friday, and I just don't like Corona. It's not the most offensive cheap beer, but to me it's more watered down piss than Bud Light is, you know. But I guess I can't knock it if it's free. But anyway, I just watched that interview Cinemassacre, James from Cinemassacre did with Joe Bob Briggs, because he's coming back with a new. It's not. I guess he says it's not a show like his old show on TNT or the movie channel. It's more like trivia and fan commentary over selected movies. I think he said they're doing like 13 to 18 movies. I think you can watch like the first episode for free if you have the free trial subscription. But to get all the episodes, you have to be a member. So, and that's coming up real soon. Let me see. Let me see if I can look up the date when that's going to drop, so you guys know. Joe Bob Briggs, Shudder. Yeah, everybody's chattering about this. Everybody's super excited about it because everybody loves Joe Bob, you know. I mean, the guy is a true fan of horror, you know, and he was the guy kind of championing, like, shitty B- movies, like, back in the day, like, when nobody really cared about them, and, like, you know, mainstream critics and stuff sort of turned their noses up to it, and you know, just panned it, essentially, and, you know, he was our guy, and you know, I think a lot of us like hardcore horror fans that do these, you know, end up hosting our own shows and stuff on YouTube. We're really influenced, you know, by Joe Bob because we loved watching him and Rhonda Shearer and Gilbert Gottfried. But really, Joe Bob was the shit. You know, he was the guy, you know, who knew what he was talking about and made it fun and had a format that was original. Let's see. Checking Google here.
Why, he's got more influence on Pat than I have.
Chase Winston does more about keeping them in line than getting them in trouble, and I know. He's supported his mother and sister ever since.
I guess they're calling it the 24-hour marathon, the last drive-in with Joe Bob Briggs, coming to Shudder in July. 24 hours, 13 films, the return of a genre icon. July 13th, so it's just around the corner. And yeah, I'm gonna have to get my subscription. Oh, they're gonna do Tourist Trap, Sleepaway Camp, Basket Case. Those are the titles they're teasing us with, and man, those are three juggernauts right there for sure. And especially Sleepaway Camp. I mean, holy shit. Joe Bob fan commentary would be amazing. I mean, it's him breaking in here and there. I don't think it's like, you know, like a fan commentary like I kind of do, or a traditional sort of director's commentary. It's just him breaking in with commentary throughout the movie. But I am definitely down. I guess there's a trailer out there for The Last Drive-In. And if you haven't checked out that interview that James did from Cinemassacre did with Joe Bob, go check it out. It's about, I think it's a little over half an hour, and it's really good. I mean, he talks a lot, and he talks a lot about how he got into doing the show, and, you know, his sort of roots and what he thinks about modern cinema, and he's Joe Bob. I mean, he's Joe Bob all the way, so it's really good. You just find that over at Cinemassacre's YouTube channel. Definitely worth 30 minutes of your time for sure. But man, yeah, I'm super excited about the show they're going to be doing on Shudder. And I've been meaning to get a subscription to Shudder for a while anyway. You know, even if it's just like a trial subscription. But, I mean, smart marketing on their part to make you get a subscription to watch the show. I mean, they're going to have a spike in revenue. There's going to be a lot of horror fans out there buying at least 1 month of Shudder in July. So, you know, I can't really blame them for that. I mean, there's been a lot of chatter about this coming down the line for a while, you know. People have been wanting it, so. So what's going on in the movie? I guess they're working. This guy works in a hot rod shop or something, and I don't know. Doesn't really matter, you know. It's just something to play in the background.
He can do whatever he wants with it. You know, if he eloped, his old man would put him down flat.
I was actually thinking about doing a movie, something other than horror. I've been kind of wanting to branch away occasionally, you know, like just do something other than horror, just to change it up. I mean, that's why I kind of enjoy going over to revivalhouse.net, Behind the Mask. Occasionally they'll bring me on and we'll do something other than horror, and I just have a field day with it because I love horror, of course. But it's just fun to do this format of podcasting on a movie outside of the horror genre. You know, I think we did Batman Returns, and that was a lot of fun. And we did Jury Duty, that Pauly Shore movie, and that ended up being a lot of fun, man. We really tore that one up good. I mean, they literally like messaged me because we're all like in a group chat on Facebook. We've had a group chat going for like a year, and we talk back and forth, but they have a tendency to kind of drop an invite on me at the last second. And I was watching another fan commentary, and I was about 6 beers in, essentially gonna finish watching that and then call it a night, when they're like, oh, hey, do you want to jump in on this fan commentary with us? You know, do you want to record with us tonight? And I was like, oh, I'm kind of toasted right now, but I mean, it's Jury Duty. It's a Pauly Shore movie, so who gives a shit? It might be funny. So yeah, I dropped in, and I was feeling pretty good, but it ended up being really funny because I just kind of let loose that night, and it's a fun one. I enjoyed going back and listening to it. So if you haven't heard that yet, go over to, you can find it in my collaborations playlist on my YouTube channel, or I would just recommend going straight to Revival House or Behind the Mask on their YouTube channel, subscribing and giving it a listen, because it's a lot of fun. Those guys are a blast. There's too many laughs to count over on their channel, but so yeah, I got some good stuff in the works. I've been planning for a while. I've been planting the seeds in the garden, and those flowers are going to be blooming real soon. I don't think people realize that a lot of the stuff that I do on the channel, like I kind of plan like a month in advance, and it takes a little while for the idea to get some momentum going. Matt Wazell and I and Alex Edwards from Skeleton Crew, and also Married with Children podcast, are going to do Piranha, the 2010 3D remake. We were actually going to record that quite a while ago, a few weeks ago, but it just kind of didn't happen for scheduling reasons. And then we've just been like last Friday, I had my barbecue, and Matt's been working a lot, so it's just kind of been hard to coordinate it, but we're going to do that. And then also going to be doing the awesomely terrible Kiss in the Phantom of the Park movie. I'm a huge Kiss fan, and that movie's real bad, but I love it because Kiss is awesome. And it's just the acting is just so horrible in it. But I'm Seth M. Sherwood. You may remember him from my Texas Chainsaw: The Next Generation fan commentary, and we did an interview with him. He's coming back to do that movie with me with my another friend of mine, and I'll keep that a secret for now. But we just kind of agreed to get to do that sometime this summer, so I think that will probably happen sometime over the next month or two. Like I said, we have to schedule it and figure out the recording and everything, and it'll happen. It's something I really want to do, and I think it'll be fun. It'll be something a little different. And I know Jamie Salmons, who's a podcaster from the Horophilia Network. We've been talking about doing Jaws 3D for a while, and that's just another scheduling conflict. So I got my hand in a lot of cookie jars. I'm just trying to set it up and then knock it over when the opportunity presents itself. I think I've asked Willis from the NFW fan commentary podcast to come over and do a movie. He said yes, he wants to. We're talking about doing some movie he picked out. He had an idea of something with ants in it. I can't remember, Attack of the Giant Ants or some shit like that. So, you know, I mean, the seeds are planted and they're gonna, you know, the chickens are gonna come home to roost, so to speak, eventually. So, yeah, a lot of great ideas for the podcast this year. And, of course, I want to start trying to knock out some more Halloween movies. Gearing up for, you know, the new movie coming out in October. Eric from the Death Twitch and I have talked about doing Resurrection eventually. It's kind of been like a little bit of a merry-go-round with him, he wants to do it, but I think he's kind of interested in doing some other things, and it's just kind of like, I think when he feels up to it and kind of in the mood to do it, we'll knock it out some evening, hopefully before the movie drops in October. But that would be a fun one to do. That's the last one, I think. It's the last one I think that he has to do for his Halloween fan commentaries. So it'd be fun, and it'd be cool to chat with Eric again. It's been a while. I mean, we chat, you know, in his, you know, his fan chats on his, you know, his music channels and stuff like that. I mean, we're in touch a little bit, but, you know, he's busy doing his thing, and I'm doing mine, and, you know, I just throw the invitations out there, and at some point, you know, I think when he feels up to it, he'll come be a guest again on the show. And the door is always open, dude. You're always welcome here. And he's fucking hysterical. It makes me laugh, so I just think he's got maybe dreading doing that movie, and I think that's his black sheep of the family as far as Halloween movies go. And I can't really say I blame him. It's pretty terrible. It's definitely my least favorite of the original strain of Hollywood movies. I mean, Halloween movies. I probably would prefer to watch. I really don't like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies at all. Maybe I need to give them another try, but I would almost rather watch Resurrection than I would, you know, those Rob Zombie abominations. I mean, when I think about watching the first Halloween remake from like 2008, like, I just groan because it's so long, and the first half where they flesh out Michael Myers as a kid just really sucks. Like, it's just not good, you know? It's like two different movies tonally. Like, if they just cut it in half and just give us the remake that kind of follows the original format of the Carpenter version, you know, well, let's call it the original, the Carpenter original. Yeah, I might, you know, maybe there needs to be like a fan cut of that movie where they take out all that stupid Rob Zombie garbage prequel bullshit where, you know, it's basically his wife being annoying, you know. I'm not into it. I don't want to watch it. And then the second one just confuses the fuck out of me. You know, I guess maybe I'd rather watch Halloween 2, you know, the Rob Zombie Halloween 2 over the first one. But I'd rather just, you know, throw them both in the garbage can. Honestly, like, I'm just not interested. But they exist, so, you know, who knows? Maybe one day I'll, like, fall in love with them for some odd reason. Like, I remember for so many years I hated Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. I just thought it was a terrible movie and confusing and you know, just a movie at odds with itself and too much CGI and too long and too convoluted. And now I don't know why, but I like that movie now. And it only took me 20 years, you know. So, you know, I never say never. I always try to keep an open mind. I mean, I've been lucky enough I came across a copy of each one on DVD in the thrift store, and I paid $1 for each one. So, you know, because I love the Halloween franchise, I'm like, well, I might as well own it. It's there if I need it, you know. So, yeah, who knows? Never say never. Maybe I'll go back to him. I just Rob Zombie. I don't know. It's like the cat's out of the bag. You know what I mean? Like, we know his tricks. He's a lot of surface level shit. I know he's like a hardcore horror fan, but he's made some real stinkers lately. You know what I mean? Like, he did that fucking horrible crowdfunded movie 31, and I think everybody's just tired of the stink of Rob Zombie. You know what I mean? And I guess I think there's been like some rumors going around about a Lords of Salem like sequel or something. Who knows? I mean, the guy's got such a huge fan base. I don't think he'll ever go away if he wants to keep making horror movies. And I don't think all of his horror movies are terrible, honestly. I mean, some of them are fun. Some of his earlier ones are fun. But lately, yeah, his movies have just been big old piles of poopy, you know? Like, I'm not interested. Not interested, but I don't know, man. I really keeping my fingers crossed for this fucking I guess it would be Halloween 2 2.0 or Halloween 2 TOO. I don't know. Halloween H40. You know, there's some interesting. I mean, the trailer was really cool. You know, like I like how the monsters in this movie are just like an actual lizard that's been like edited into the frame. I guess that was the only recourse they had for special effects back then. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so the trailer looked interesting. I did a trailer reaction podcast with the Revival House dudes. We watched it together for the first time, you know, the day after it dropped, and you know, gave our initial thoughts. So go over there and listen to that. But just to summarize, basically what I thought was I was, you know, intrigued. Definitely, Michael looks great. It looks nice and violent. I kind of like that Jamie Lee Laurie's character has become like this sort of doomsday prepper badass, where she's been waiting, you know, essentially obsessed over him and has been waiting around with an arsenal of weapons, you know, waiting to finally, you know, do him in or have a final showdown or whatever. That's an interesting direction to take it, you know. Different than the version of her in H2O. But I did see some, like, you know, a lot of repetition of stuff we've already seen before in Halloween movies in the original franchise. And I won't go into too much detail about it because I'm sure some of you aren't watching the trailer because you want to just go in cold. But they're saying, you know, they're doing that because they want to tribute, even though they're going back to after the first movie, you know, essentially making a sequel, redoing a sequel, or rebooting the sequel to the original. They still want to pay tribute to the movies that came after, like 4 and 5 and stuff, because they don't want to disrespect the franchise, I guess. They want to acknowledge it. So they're throwing in stuff that happens in 4 and 5 and 6 and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, okay, it's a what, 3-minute trailer or something. So there's a lot of movie around those scenes. But when I was watching the trailer, I was thinking to myself, they're doing the same thing over again. They're doing, they're repeating themselves. Like, they have a chance to do something completely different here. And by all means, they probably are. But they're showing us stuff that we've already seen before in other movies. So I'm just kind of like confused. I don't really like. It's like I don't want the bait and switch thing. I don't want it to like completely lean on nostalgia. I don't want it to complete like the way The Force Awakens bait and switched us. Like, they just showed us a bunch of stuff that we'd already seen before because they know the hardcore fans will be like, oh, there's an AT-AT walker, or there, like. They just, there's a cantina scene. They want to give you shit that's different but the same. I don't like that. I like shit that, takes some risks. And like I said, the movie could be very risky and very different than what we're seeing in the trailer, But that was just my first initial reaction. And I am very, very intrigued to see this movie. I just hope it's just not a wash of nostalgia and lazy writing and a big disappointment. But I mean, I actually like Halloween 2, even though Carpenter and his girlfriend Deborah, what's her name, can't think of it right now, but even though they were kind of like had their arms twisted into writing that thing, and I know John Carpenter regrets it. I think he wrote it in like some like booze and weed induced haze. I enjoy that movie, and it's kind of fun, like when Halloween rolls around, to watch 1 and 2, like right as like one long movie. You know what I mean? Like just roll right from one into the next one, and it's like a continuation. It's it's not without its flaws, but I enjoy Halloween 2. And I guess we're supposed to downgrade that to not the true sequel. I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, Carpenter gives his endorsement of this new version, or this new sequel, so I don't know. That makes me think maybe they're doing something right, Maybe this was the movie that, maybe Carpenter approves of this new Halloween sequel more than he approves of his original sequel back in, I guess it was 80 or something. 81. So maybe, that gives me hope maybe he, sees something in this. I'm just trying not to get my hopes up too high, so I'm not, super bummed out. Right now we're still planning to go to Vegas together. Me and the Revival House dudes are going to meet up there and do a podcast thing and go see the movie on opening night and stuff. And, I'm really looking forward to the trip, but not trying to get my hopes up too high to where I'm disappointed, I'm just trying to let, my mind wander, but not try and figure it out, just to have an honest curiosity about it. So, yeah, it'll be fun. Either way, it can't be any worse than what Rob Zombie did to it, I mean, Myers himself in the movie looks really good. I like the way they aged the mask, and it's definitely the best mask added to the franchise since 2, the original 2. So, yeah, they're doing something right for sure. Yeah, it was. I was torn between doing this movie and The Brain That Wouldn't Die. 2 really different movies, but I've seen both the movies. And I remember The Brain That Wouldn't Die more than I remember this. So it probably would have made more sense for me to do that one, but I just kind of like the idea of a bunch of lizards running around the screen for some reason versus like a head in a dish. But, whatever. I'm trying to think of some recent horror movies I've seen that we can talk about that I thought were good. I saw Unsane. Was really interesting. I liked it. It took me a minute to kind of get into it because it's a slow movie. It's like it's more of a drama. It's a psychological thriller more than a horror movie. But it goes to some really dark places. And I highly recommend checking that one out. That's from this year. It's called Unsane. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's basically, you know, like about a woman who goes to a mental hospital for some therapy because she's been having some, you know, dark thoughts, having some trouble from her troubled past, and she wants to talk to somebody, but she unwittingly signs herself in as a patient, and then they essentially strip away her freedom and keep her captive in this mental hospital. And it's kind of like playing a little bit with your mind. You know, it's a mind fuck a little bit because you don't know if she's like legitimately crazy and, you know, they're the sane ones, because she has this like the whole thing is triggered by like the fact that she had a stalker and you know, a crazed guy who is in love with her and basically following her around and showing up places and injecting himself into her life and, you know, making a mess of her life and making her paranoid. And so you begin to wonder, is she maybe like schizophrenic or something? And it's just really cool. So if you come across that, definitely check it out. What else have I seen lately, horror movie wise? I mean, I've been seeing movies, but as far as horror goes, I saw Hereditary. I really like that too. It creeped me out because any you know, ghosts don't really creep me out. Gore movies don't really creep me out. You know, I could watch like The Human Centipede and like be grossed out, but it doesn't like creep me out mentally. But Hereditary and movies about cults and stuff like that, and documentaries about cults, like really creep me out because it's like this weird brainwashing thing, and then it kind of makes you realize that human beings just on their own are like kind of these really unpredictable machines that exist in the world, and you know, there's no guarantees with a human being. You don't really know what they're capable of, and what sort of dark, sinister forces are kind of behind people, and what sort of things people meddle with, and what sort of sinister, nefarious plans people have. And I thought it was damn good. I mean, I kind of wish I had seen it in the theater, to be honest with you, but I just checked it out at home, and I think her name Nicolette Sheridan, the main actress in the movie. I know her from the United States of Terra, which was like an HBO or Showtime series or something, where she has a multiple personality disorder. She's an amazing actress. This is what I'm trying to say. She's really good in the movie and on that show, but yeah, some really fucked up shit happens, and it just becomes darker and more twisted as it goes along. So I highly recommend checking out Hereditary. Definitely 2 thumbs up on that one. And of course, I've seen some other non-horror movies recently. Let's see, what did I see recently? Of course, I saw Solo and it sucked. Don't recommend seeing that one. They don't know what the fuck they're doing over there at Disney. What else I check out for movies? Must not have been that good. I saw, of course, Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom, and that movie's been getting a lot of shit, and I can understand why. I went into it knowing exactly what it was gonna be. I mean, I knew it was gonna be a lazy script with a bunch of CGI dinosaurs doing crazy shit. People are running away, lots of tension, and a lot of spectacle. You know, and man, it was highly convoluted script. Very. I didn't like it better or worse than the first. Maybe I liked it some parts better than the first one. I had a lot of action in it, but it did get tiresome after a while, and I kind of got bored. You know, it was 2 hours long, and I was like, kind of like, is it over yet? You know, it's like they're trying really hard to entertain me, and it's quality visually, and the action sequences and the sets and all that really good. And special effects, CGI, the dinosaurs look incredible and all that stuff, but I just don't care. You know, I just got really bored. They don't really. The main characters, Owen and what's her name, Bryce Howard, the redhead, the ginger. You know, they're in the exact same place, really, in their it's just, you know, kind of a lot of repetition. They threw in some SJW type characters in there. One of them was like really annoying. They're both annoying, but one of them was really annoying. I'm like, why did they fucking cast these people in these parts? You know, I mean, they couldn't have done a little bit better than that, but I didn't really care too much. I just tried to check out and watch and have a good time. And for a $5 Tuesday at AMC, I got my money's worth and then some. And there's some, you know, some really cool dinosaur action sequences. There's a lot. There's a lot of action. But it's a pretty fucking stupid movie. It's way more dumb than the first Jurassic World. You know, they're just really formulaic movies that, you know, they're there to appease the dumb masses, and I'm one of them, and, you know, I took it for what it was. I didn't expect too much, so there you go. That's my review of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I would probably, if you're not a person who can get out to a cheap matinee, probably wait for it to come out on cable or something, you know. Because they're not really reinventing the wheel. You know, they're not taking it to any place that interesting, so. If you want to see a good Jurassic Park movie, watch Jurassic Park. You know, maybe Jurassic Park 2, because it's got a little bit of that Spielberg magic in there. Skip 3. That's all. I mean, it's just all the same shit, you know. It's all the same shit. I mean, the first Jurassic Park, it will always be a summer blockbuster classic, which I had the privilege of seeing when it came out in a theater back in 93 or 92, 93 or whatever. My father took me and my sister, and that shit, like, I'd never seen anything like that before. It was crazy. Shit's like, it didn't scare me, but it definitely like startled the shit out of me. It was like my mind was blown, you know. I mean, it was a jaw dropper for me when I walked out of the theater, and it still holds up. It's a really good movie. And none of the movies that came after that in the Jurassic World franchise have that charm or special something to it. And I'm not just talking about my personal nostalgia from my experience with it, but I mean, just as a movie on its own doesn't have that. None of the other sequels have that, so. Oh, Lucy just popped in. What's up, Loose Goose? So yeah, I don't know. It's a movie with killer dinosaurs in it, so people getting eaten alive. That too is pretty close to a horror movie for me. So, um, uh, you know, if you can get over yourself and just go see a dumb movie, shovel some overpriced popcorn into your face, you'll have a good time with it. I'll be straight with you. I have no idea what's going on in this movie, but it's kind of creepy. He's playing like a some sort of ukulele banjo hybrid, singing a song to a girl with some sort of horrible crippling disability. She's got leg braces on. I don't know what this has to do with Giant Gila Monsters, but it's happening. So all I know is that I'm watching the movie and rambling, and occasionally a lizard shows up on screen. There's not really a lot of excitement or anything happening of note, but that was the point of picking this. Rather than love like Ghostbusters or E.T., and just picking a shitty movie. It's kind of like a background thing. It's funny, I was actually thinking about doing Romancing the Stone. You guys ever seen that movie? It's an 80s flick that I absolutely fucking adore. It's an action romance type hybrid movie. Michael Douglas in his prime, and Danny DeVito, and it's got the female lead is Catherine something. Drawing a blank, but anyway, action movie, really good, and I just thought it would be funny because nobody ever thinks about that movie anymore. It's kind of been forgotten, but funny memory, like back in the days of VHS stores, my mom and I would go on the weekend, and we were pretty poor. And we didn't own a VCR. That was back when VCRs were pretty expensive to buy. I mean, now you can get one in a thrift store for $2, but back then they were expensive, Back when it was cutting edge technology. They were just starting to get introduced into, mid-America, middle class homes on the regular. But we didn't have one yet, so you could actually rent one from the video store. And it came out like a cheesy clamshell plastic case. And you could rent it, for, whatever, $5 for the weekend or something. And, my mom and I would go to the VHS, the video store, and pick out a couple movies. And I just always loved Romancing the Stone. I just always thought it was a really fun movie. And I just ended up picking it out. And we got home. And we were, I had turned the TV on. We were getting ready to hook up the VCR to play the movie. And, literally that movie came on TV. I don't know, ABC or NBC or CBS or somebody was playing it on TV. And we just were like, oh my God. We just, wasted our money, renting this video. And it's, literally on TV right here. But, yeah, I just came across Romancing the Stone, and its sequel, Jewel of the Nile, came out. Double feature on one DVD, and I came across it for a couple bucks at an FYE or something, and I bought it. And Romancing the Stone is a great movie. It has a great script, and it's well rounded and well acted. And then the sequel just is awful, sucks. But anyway, yeah, I was actually kind of toying with the idea of doing a Romancing the Stone fan commentary, but I was like, I don't want to do it and not really get into it and get my hands dirty and learn about it and experience it, So I'll do that sometime as just sort of a random, movie drop. I've been meaning to like create like a playlist on my YouTube channel that's like other than horror, because I haven't really done any movies that are not horror yet for my channel. But I will eventually when I get bored enough and I'm sitting here by myself drinking leftover beer. I'll probably knock it out. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, look it up. Michael Douglas, Romancing the Stone. It was like 84 or 85. It got a lot of flack. It's definitely in the vein of like Indiana Jones, and it got a lot of comparison because it came out after Raiders of the Lost Ark. But apparently, like, they had written the script for that movie before Raiders, so it's just coincidence. It must have been something in the zeitgeist back then. There was just a need for adventure movies, and the character of Jack T. Holden and Indiana Jones are completely different. I mean, they're dashing sort of swashbucklers, but they operate in a different way. So, but on its surface, there's a romance wrapped up in an adventure story, and they're seeking an artifact. Once Indiana's seeking an artifact, Jack's seeking an emerald jewel. It's just a fun-loving 80s movie, and there's a lot more comedy in Romancing the Stone than there is in Raiders. So it's more of a comedy, romance, action adventure. But it's got its charms, and it's really cool. And it's one of my favorite 80s movies that nobody ever thinks of or talks about anymore. And of course, Danny DeVito was great in it too, but
You and Chase sure got off light. You took off this morning. You just been sitting around here on your can all day long. That bar is a fun You get the half ass of this? Yeah.
Well, your steamboats, pre-boats, that's
Steamboats, yeah.
another section of the KILT.
so this movie apparently it takes place somewhere like around
I'll be emceeing a flat tonight.
I guess a hot rod shop. A bunch of dudes are into hot rods, and somehow, I mean, they're just taking two random things. I'm sure the producers are like, what is interesting in today's culture? Hot rods were like all the rage in the late 50s and in the early 60s. So, movies it's all about like what gets those kids in the seats, I mean, look at Jurassic World. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of teens out there just like, oh my god, let's go see some dinosaurs this weekend. They don't really. It'll appeal to the adolescent mind or whatever, the young adult crowd, and so essentially I would say hot rods were probably like the dinosaur or the spaceship of the late 50s or something, and that was, fast cars, fast women, stuff like that were like the counterculture of the 50s. That's why you see it, movies like Rebel Without a Cause, like I mentioned before, I mean, that's really the heart and soul of youth, rebellious youth of the 50s. Really what all they had going for them was their vehicles and hormones, and there's lust for independence, I guess, and coming to terms with their sort of struggle to adulthood, dealing with the society's issues of the time. If you haven't seen Rebel Without a Cause, definitely check that movie out, man. That's just, that's a fucking classic, You got your James Dean as Prime, and you've got Natalie Wood, of course, gorgeous actress who died way too young, sadly. I think she drowned. But her and James Dean have great chemistry on screen, and it's just a special movie, man. Really, really good. I used to have this big James Dean cardboard cutout. And then I think I eventually gave it away to a friend or something, but yeah, James Dean, man, he another one who got cut down in his prime. East of Eden is probably my second favorite James Dean movie, and then I would say maybe The Giant after that. But yeah, you know, he was pretty great. He was seriously obsessed with Marlon Brando. I think kind of copied his style a little bit. If you watch like early Brando movies, where say like West Side Story or something like that, and you see his acting as a young, you know, as a young man, as a young actor, like James Dean definitely was trying to channel that Marlon Brando vibe, and yeah, he died in a terrible car accident. And you know, he was very much into hot rods and fast cars and things like that. And he had a souped up turbo spider or some type of car I'm not really that familiar with, because I'm not really like a car aficionado of any kind, but he literally had just gotten this car. He had the all these alterations made to it, special alterations made to it, and the mechanic that I think helped alter the car for him was with him, and they had decided that they were gonna tow the car back to somewhere in Hollywood, but apparently like they needed to break in the engine on the car, so they decided to drive instead from one place to the other. And they came to a weird intersection somewhere in like kind of rural Northern California, and they kind of I guess one car was in his blind spot or something, and he tried to go around it and lost control of the car, and it just became this basically a mangled, you know, just a total like awful car accident, a mangled mess, and you know, he died. And I think the mechanic, I think he lived. I think he, if I remember right, he was with them, and the mechanic lived or something. Like maybe he was, I don't know, something. Anyway, James Dean died. I think he actually survived the crash, but died on the way to the hospital or something like that. And it's just so weird how so many icons over the years have been cut down in their prime, you know. Almost like it was like their destiny or something to die young. But man, now I kind of want to watch that movie. Rebel Without a Cause is more of a pure. It's a pure type of movie. A lot of good drama in it. A lot of good acting. Like I don't think James Dean was like an incredible actor or anything like that. He was too young. He was no Daniel Day-Lewis or anything. Like he was no like polished method actor or anything, but he was raw, you know. And I think he really threw himself into it, and so it really shined through. And Rebel Without a Cause is a really raw movie, and it's very succinct. Like it knows what it is. It has a lot of appeal, but it's a challenging movie, you know, because it's all about his relationship with his father and stuff, and about, it was almost prophetic in a way, because it's about being cut down in your youth, about dying before your time and tragedy, and learning to live with tragedy and having to accept life on life's terms, you know, and that's really a powerful movie to me. When I saw it as a teenager, you know, it taught me something, like in the same way that like The Outsiders did. By the way, I have an audiobook on my channel if you're interested. It's about 4 or 5 hours. I narrated The Outsiders. I read the book for my mother for her birthday, and I just added it to my channel in case you're interested. If you like audiobooks, you can listen to me do bad impressions of the characters, essentially. But anyway, yeah, so I need to go back and rewatch Rebel.Cause, man, because that's just a really good movie. But if you want to see something a little bit more complex, check out not the Giant, but East of Eden, which is another James Dean classic about really similar types of themes. Really, his relationship with his father. I don't know why that was always a common theme with James Dean movies. Maybe it was like he got typecasted. Well, maybe he fit that role really well, but it's a different setting scenario altogether. And it's more complicated because there's more characters involved. But essentially, yeah, you know, it's about his trying to resolve issues with his father and wanting his father's approval and stuff. But East of Eden's a really great movie. I've always wanted to read that book, but I think he did a faithful portrayal with the movie too. So yeah, definitely get into some of those older classics. You know, those old James Dean movies are fun, man. I mean, they're engaging. You'd be surprised. I mean, there's some really good classic movies out there that you could learn something from or really change your life in some way, you know?
Could have knocked Mr. Compton's truck off that road.
So, yeah, nothing's happening. Essentially, it's just a lot of people standing around talking, and then all of a sudden there'll be like a lizard running across the screen, and that'll be it, you know? But,
Just keep it to yourself. It might cause panic.
Okay, Sheriff, whatever you say.
Don't forget for now and have some fun, little boy.
yeah, I'm trying to think about, like, what else is coming out this year in terms of horror movies that I want to see. We got the reboot of It Part 2 coming down the line. I think they already announced like all the cast in it. I actually really liked everybody they casted for that. It looks pretty good. But I have faith it'll be pretty good. I really like I thought the reboot was really good. I need to re-see it because I've only seen it twice. And when I saw it in the theater, I really liked it. If like I'm watching a horror movie in the theater and I laugh and I'm entertained, like that's a really good sign. And I saw it again just at home and I thought it was good. But that was like months and months and months ago. So I don't know, it might be cool to go back and rewatch it and see kind of in it from a critical standpoint what I think about it. But I'm definitely looking forward to the next one, you know. I mean, I'll be there opening night to check it out. I'm just so glad all these good horror movies are coming out, you know? It's like, there's kind of like this little resurgence going on. I wonder if they'll get motivated to do another Friday the 13th movie. I mean, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but, you know, you never know, right? Oh, I saw A Quiet Place. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't great, but it had an original premise and it was engaging all the way through. It's just not one of those movies that I would really be excited to watch again. At least not for quite a while. I saw The Strangers, Pray at Night. It was fine. It was really cookie cutter. I didn't think there was really anything special about it. But I would say check it out when it comes out on cable. Let's see. Oh, yeah, The Meg. Really looking forward to that. That looks like a fun popcorn movie.
You believe him?
When's that supposed to drop? Let's see.
Well, why not? There have been giants before. That's true. How could anything that big go unnoticed in this area?
It's gotta be. It seems like they would drop it in the summer. It says August 10th, so right at the tail end of the summer. That'll be fun one. I'm looking forward to that.
And I say it is possible. Wizard to have lived there.
Winchester, I saw that. It sucked. Was not really impressed. I mean, definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen, but not anything special. I saw Wildling, which is kind of like a werewolf movie, and I thought it was really good. It was more of a drama, though. Don't expect anything. There's the Suspiria remake I'm curious about. That's pretty much all I can say about that. I'm curious about it. Venom, I don't know if that's really a horror movie, but I'm curious to see that. Oh, yeah, I definitely want to see the house that Jack built. I've been hearing, like, it was so gnarly that people got up and walked out of the theater at Cannes Film Festival. That's the one with Matt Dillon in it. I guess it's just a really gnarly Lars Van Trier film. And, you know, Matt Dillon, Uma Thurman, I don't know, man, Jeremy Davies. It could be really cool. I mean, if people have a visceral reaction to something, I get really I'm interested. I definitely want to check that out. If I can, you know, get my hands on a copy. I'm guessing that considering the fact that it had a really negative response at Cannes, probably not going to go to a lot of theaters, so I'll probably have to wait for a fucking bootleg to drop online. I saw Demon House, which is the Zach Baggins sort of, I guess it's a documentary essentially about a haunted house. And that he ended up purchasing, and I liked it. I mean, it's not anything creative per se. If you're a fan of like the Ghost Adventurers, you know, they're really good at the pseudoscience of creating compelling content from nothing. Which is essentially what this movie is on crack. It was. I got into it. I don't know why, but I really just enjoyed watching what would happen next. So, you know, check that out. Demon House. It's kind of cool. What else have I seen? Or what else is coming out that I want to see? I think that pretty much covers everything. Yeah, I mean, of course I saw Hellraiser Judgment. That was fucking pile of dog shit. There's a movie coming out called Summer of '84. That looks interesting. I don't really know a lot about it, but, you know, anything having to do with the 80s, I'm interested in. There's a Slender Man movie coming out. Sounds cool. Oh, The Purge. The first Purge, which is, I guess, a prequel. So I guess it's like the events leading up to them voting in through legislation the the whole purge concept, where, you know, they give you the one night to commit crime, to murder, to do what you have to do, to quell people's urges to commit crimes, to bring balance to society, I suppose. I've liked all the Purge movies so far. The first one's my favorite because I think the concept's the most pure. You know, and of course with concepts like that, they always have to ratchet it up and from one sequel to the next. So now they're doing a prequel. Maybe it could be something different. I don't know. I wouldn't mind checking it out. Slenderman movie looks cool. The Predator. Another Predator movie. They dropped that original trailer and nobody liked it. And then they've dropped 2 since then that have been pretty fucking cool. A lot of these big production companies have been really... they've been eating ass with their fucking initial trailers. It's like... What? Don't you know what the fuck you're doing? Like, who is cutting together these trailers? I mean, the Predator trailer was fucking terrible, and then the most recent one they dropped looked fucking awesome. So, you know, the first impressions are really everything. You can't keep me from going to see a Predator movie. I'll definitely go see it. The new Predator in the movie looks fucking gnarly as hell. I'd be really happy if they gave us kind of like a horror version of Predator. I mean, I really kind of consider the Predator franchise, some of the movies, the first one definitely, to kind of really walk that wire of horror movie or sci-fi, kind of like Alien, you know. Like, I would definitely do Predator as a horror movie. It's definitely in that vein, but I really would love to see a really gory, hardcore, kind of intense, mean, sadistic sort of Predator movie, you know? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they give us. Shane Black came back to write this one, so that gives me some hope. And are they going to drop that in the fall? Yep, it's coming September 14th, so the day after my birthday. Yeah, maybe I'll go midnight showing on my birthday or something, check it out. But yeah, I mean, things are looking up for horror, if you ask me. I mean, shit, there's all kinds of good stuff. You know, keep throwing your money into it, man. Go to the theater and spend money on horror, because... you know, it seems to be on the upswing right now, and we want to encourage that because we want more horror movies. I mean, shit, if this Halloween movie destroys in October, which I think it will, I think it drops on October 18 or 19. It's going to make a shitload of money. They'll make a sequel, and then I think it'll flame out. But if it can make a lot of money... reviving an old franchise, an old horror icon like that, then hey, there's a possibility they might bring back Freddy, they might bring back you know, Jason, even though that could be blasphemous. I mean, yes, we all know that the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot was probably one of the worst horror icon reboots to ever hit the big screen, but you know, I'm sure Hollywood learned from that mistake. I mean, we can only hope. You know, and who knows? Maybe if they cut a big enough check for fucking Robert Englund, he'll come back and reprise the role one more time or something. But we could definitely get... they need to squeeze out another Friday the 13th. I mean, hell, it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since the reboot. And that reboot was decent, you know? I mean... personally, they need to put the Harry Manfredini in there. I mean, that is a crucial element, you know, to making a successful Friday the 13th movie. You know, simple formula, but the tone of the movie is really dictated by the music as well. It's like the original Ghostbusters movie. Nobody ever realizes that Elmer Bernstein's music is such a huge part of the character of that movie. And it's the same thing with Friday the 13th. If they can bring back Harry Manfredini, I don't really think it matters too much. I don't think they need to bring back Kane Hodder necessarily. They just need to find a guy who can play Jason well. You know, throw them together in a camp. give him a machete, do some inventive kills, get that fucking going, and I mean, you got a winning formula. People will fucking eat that shit up. And for God's sakes, put him on a fucking lake. A real lake. Not a swamp. You know, not some fucking shitty backlot somewhere. I mean, like on a fucking lake in the Midwest somewhere. You know, provide the correct environments. Put the Harry Manfredini music in there. And I don't think you can fucking lose. So I think if we get enough of, you know, once the cash starts flowing in for these horror movies, you know, we could get another one. That could happen. Whew. Once they fucking settle this fucking lawsuit that's going on, everybody's fucking pissing their pants over. You know, which I think should resolve itself soon enough. I mean, they can't drag it out forever. You know, they need to either take, you know, why don't they make a movie, call it Voorhees, or call it Jason Returns or something like that. I mean, yeah, in case you don't know, because of lawsuits between the original content creators of the Friday the 13th franchise, you know, we always know Friday the 13th and Jason to be synonymous. Same thing, right? Well, no. Like, apparently there was a judgment made where, like, okay, you get the name Friday the 13th, and you get the character Jason, and go your separate ways. And so, I think Cunningham has the Friday the 13th rights. Don't quote me on that. Could be wrong. Apparently they can use the name Friday the 13th. Can't use Jason. Guys got the Jason iconic character. Can use Jason, but can't call it Friday the 13th. I would rather have the Jason character and just make movies and call him Jason this, Jason that. People will understand if you put a hockey mask on the poster, what it is. You know, Jason Resurrected or something, and you put a hockey mask on there with a glow behind it, people are going to fucking shit themselves. When you have just Friday the 13th, I think really all you can do there is try to create some sort of anthology or something and hope for the best, but, you know, I don't know how interested people are going to be in that, you know. I mean, automatically the fans are going to think of the TV series anthology, which really very hit or miss. So I don't know how much they can really bank on Friday the 13th the name, but there ain't no Jason, ain't no machete, ain't no hockey mask in it, you know. Like, I just don't I think the hardcore horror fans would go give it the, you know, an entry. You know, if it had some Sean Cunningham behind it, maybe, or some other big name in horror interjected into it, or I mean injected into it. Maybe if you got Savini to come back, you attach his name to it or something. Yeah, you could probably sell us a ticket. But not having that Jason, man, that's a kiss of death, you know. Are we wrapping this movie up? This has got to be coming. Yeah, here it is, the end. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But yeah. Well, there you go. Well, this has been more of like movie talk, I guess, kind of general topics of horror and, you know, kind of as a whole. But shit. Hey, it's something. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be back real soon with a sweet episode. I think we'll have Wazelle back, Alex Edwards. We'll do Piranha, Kiss, and the Phantom of the Park probably at some points. I'll definitely considering doing that Scream Queen Hot Tub Party for you as well. So lots of great stuff coming down the line. Please, if you are listening to this and you enjoy my channel, if you haven't clicked subscribe yet, please do that. It's real important. We need more subscribers on here. And if you want to click the bell, that'll give you notifications when I drop new episodes, new fan commentaries, or what other other content I end up doing over the course of the year. You'll know right away. It'll give you a notification. Also, subscribe to us on Twitter. It's at Rratedhorror. And then if you want to reach out to us and send us a message, just email us at rratedhorror@gmail.com. And of course, we have a Facebook page too. Don't want to neglect Facebook. We've got facebook.com/rratedhorror. So yeah, come over there, be part of the community. I'll give updates there as well, and it's just, that's where I'm at. I'm always on the Facebook page, and you can message me through Facebook as well if you want to. And if maybe you have a suggestion for a movie, or maybe sometime you want to come on the show, just let me know. Send me a message, and maybe we can work it out. Depends on the situation and where we're at with the show, but you never know. It doesn't hurt to ask. So yeah, there you go, guys. I hope you're having a great summer. And of course, as always, stay awesome and stay R-rated. Cheers.